When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future videos and updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. If you want access to any of my early content that I release, check out the Discord. This is the bargain between an evil god and a villain, part 5. Let's continue where we last left off. Muscular was enjoying himself at the bar. It's been a while since he could just go to a bar and drink, not worrying about heroes trying to attack him. Trying to get some sort of revenge because he's killed one of their loved ones. They got in his way, so they had to die. Men, women, children. It doesn't matter to Muscular. Despite how cruel and evil Muscular can be, he still adores his sister. That's his blood. And his sister is no saint, after all. She's far more deadly and evil than Muscular could ever be. After ordering another set of drinks, his phone began to alert, informing him he has a text message from his sister. You need to come back. We got a problem. Figured things were going way too nicely. Had a feeling things were going to get complicated sooner or later. As Muscular drank his alcohol beverage and paid his tab and exit the bar while lighting a cigarette. When Muscular finally arrived, he sees the entire warehouse complex is sealed off by the local police force. Muscular saw Apex a little away from the warehouse. Muscular followed Apex further into the alleyway. What the hell happened? We got hit by one of the locals. Hero? Maybe villain? I don't think so, brother. The way he dressed and the way he fought, he was definitely a villain. Don't know how he even knew we were even here. We were being very careful to keep our presence unnoticed. Give me every detail. No one screws me and lives long enough to regret it. Apex gave her brother a very detailed description of Grimm. After he heard everything, he was quiet for a good time as he finally spoke up. So let me get straight. Some unknown upstart villain from this country found our operation, blew up a lot of merchandise, and stole the rest. And you're saying this villain was young, and yet you allow a kid to best you and steal our shit? I didn't let anyone do anything, brother. That little bastard played me. All I know about him, he goes by Grimm, judging by the calling card he left. Get in touch with the rest of the boys. We're heading back to our temporary territory in the city. Got it. Good. Grimm, that kid has some balls. I'll give him that. Somewhere in the same city, after several hours has passed, the sun has finally rise. As Izuku opened his eyes and got up to proceed to eat some breakfast from one of the pre-made meals that his mother left him in the refrigerator. After he heated it up and ate his breakfast in pure silence. Then he proceeded to do his morning exercises, running around the neighborhood. After he got in his workout gear. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, All Might, who's currently in his Skull Might form, or his normal state, in his skinny form, finally exiting the plane and entering the airport. He didn't draw too much attention. He chose his form specifically so he doesn't draw too much attention to himself, as he just arrived in America. As he took a taxi to meet up with the local heroes. Once he arrived, he went into the alleyway and turned into his buff form. When All Might stepped into the hero agency, he was greeted by the secretary, as the secretary led him to the meeting room where he's going to meet with one of the local heroes in America to assist them in tracking down the villain siblings known as Muscular and Apex. Impulse greeted the #1 hero from Japan. There you are, All Might. You came just in time. We just got footage of the villain you've been tracking. Excellent. You must be Impulse. Well met, Impulse. They shook hands briefly as the police chief entered the room and start the footage that they managed to recover from one of the cameras that was pointing in a direction, one of the cameras in the warehouse that was running at the time, showing footage of Muscular and his sister, Apex. Then they watch Apex getting attacked by an unknown figure. All Might doesn't know who this is, but Zack seemed to know full well who he was, or got an idea who he is. Him. I take it you know this one who's attacking Apex? I don't know his name, but I've met him before, a little while ago. He's definitely a villain. You have my full cooperation. Clearly, this case is a lot more bigger than I originally thought, if that bastard's involved. We're just fortunate that they're not working with each other. Instead, they're working against each other. As a beam of energy shot the camera, cutting the footage that was recorded. Is that all we have? Unfortunately, that's only footage we managed to recover. That bastard? You're right, we are very lucky that these villains are not working with each other instead of against. We got our work cut out for us. But that also works in our favor. What can you tell me about the other two? Muscular, and I believe you called the female Apex. They're decent, well-known villain duo, brother and sister. They're dangerous. They're willing to kill men, women, children. So we gotta play this very carefully. We don't want to endanger innocent lives. I agree, All Might. Last thing on my record I need is several fatalities on my record. Not much we can do right now, but go on our patrol. You take the lead, Impulse. You know the layout of this city. Sure thing, number one hero. Stick with me, and you get the layouts pretty quickly. As All Might and Impulse left the hero agency to do a patrol around the city to see if they could catch a trail of the villains, either the duo of Muscular or Apex, or even Grim. Meanwhile, Izuku just got home, took a shower, and got dressed for school. He left shortly afterwards. Luckily for Izuku, it's the last day of school before the summer break. His day at school was boring and predictable. When the bell finally rang, signifying the end of the school day, Izuku left the school. He just has to attend one more year of middle school, then he'll have to go to high school. But he'll worry about that later. He has the entire summer to get some work done when it comes to his villain activities as Grim. The moment Izuku got home, he preheated some pre-made meal. After that, he went to his room to turn on his computer and immediately use a backdoor to get access to the dark web and begin to search to see if he can find any buyers for any of the military grade weaponry he has. See if he can find any buyers for the drugs as well, including the access to trigger he has at his disposal. He has loads and loads of this, and loads of cocaine as well. After several hours of being unsuccessful, he exited the dark web and decided to take a walk to clear his head. The fact that no one is willing to buy any military-grade weaponry because they clearly don't trust him or know who he is. He knows even if he found a buyer, they would not give him any time. He's an unknown villain with no reputation. It always comes down to reputation. I guess I'm going to have to earn my name before I could start selling those weaponry. Izuku arrived at the local park and leaned against a tree while pulling out his phone and searching the web to try to identify possible targets as Grim. Nothing too fancy. He has found something interesting, some sort of charity event happening at the local museum, as they're going to be displaying a crystal skull as a donation to the museum. Izuku didn't care what the skull came from or what it's made out of. It is well known to be very valuable. Something like that he could easily find a buyer for. That's something he knows how to do. Interesting. Are you sure, according to what you read, a hero is supposed to be there? That is true. Captain Celebrity will be present. It would be too boring if it was too easy. Wouldn't you agree, Zelik? That is true. Captain Celebrity will be present. It's going to be too boring. So I completely agree with you. Very well. I look forward to the outcome of this play. Zelik broke his mental link with Izuku. Izuku immediately went to the public library and made copies of the blueprints of the museum. It was in the public domain of the computer, so no one got suspicious. They just figured he was studying for something. And Izuku's a regular at this library, so his presence wasn't really alerting or suspicious. Once he got home, he put all the copies of the blueprints of the museum on the kitchen table and began to study it. He had plenty of time to study the blueprints before he has to strike the museum. The event is supposed to happen tonight around 9 o'clock. It's only 4:30 in the afternoon, so he has plenty of time to prepare. When he formulated a strategy plan, he immediately left the house and made his way over to a couple of support gear shops to buy some components to make a couple inventions he will need to sneak into the museum while the charity event is in progress. He went to a couple support gear shops, getting pieces of technology that he needed. He immediately went to his underground base at the abandoned railroad station and began to create a couple inventions he needs for this job. And what material he doesn't have, he already has at his base of operation. So he made several round ball objects, electric grenades, that produce enough electricity to completely neutralize several humans, targets, not killing them, but that could be tweaked to be quite fatal if he chose to. It won't be a pleasant experience from the electric charge, but he doesn't care. He also made a small device, produce small laser to cut through any metal material, like a metal door or a wall, that gets into the way. He doesn't believe he'll need it, but he figured it'd be best to have it on him just in case. He would rather have it on him and not need it than not have it on it than having to need it. Once he got everything created and tested, he made his way near the museum and paid for one of the rooms on the top of floor of a nearby hotel, using a fake identity so he doesn't get linked to whatever crime he's about to commit. Once he got the key and made his way to the top floor to his room, he locked the door and used the window in direct view of the museum as he took out binoculars and began to stake out the museum as he watched people come in and go outside the building. And everyone getting ready for the charity event, as Captain Celebrity is already present on the location of the museum. Izuku waited until it got closer to the event. It's currently around 7 o'clock. Izuku decided to get ready and take out all of his gear out of his backpack and his inventions. Once he put on all his gear and put his black skull mask on his face, and put the many inventions in his jacket pocket, Grim opened the window and jumped out of... Very good. Grim opened the window and jumped out of it as he landed on one of his Gaster blasters as he floated towards the museum. As he landed on the museum's roof with pure silence, he deactivated his Gaster blaster and created a smaller one to retrieve his backpack that had his clothes in it. He didn't want to leave it there as evidence. Izuku approached a human-sized ventilation shaft. He removed the vent cover and entered the visualization shaft and traveled through the vents of the museum. As the slight openings you could see through the vents, he could see several guests gathering up, drinking alcohol, having a good time, unaware that there is a villain among them. Izuku continued to travel through the vents. It didn't take Grim very long to find the right path, right above the security room, to see the room is filled with security guards and a few other police officers for extra security. Grim kicked the lid off of the vent leading into the security room and dropped several electric grenades. The round balls separated and released a discharge of electricity that shocked everyone in the room as they all fell unconscious. Alive, but they're not going to feel good in the morning. Grim dropped from the ventilation shaft and landed onto the ground, quietly as he stuck a flash drive into the security database and began to corrupt the entire system, blocking out any footage. He left the power on. He's here to make a grand entrance, steal the crystal skull, and having witnesses is necessary, so cutting power off would be pointless. He's not basically here to steal the artifact using stealth. Yes, he did cut the cameras off in the museum, but he has no doubt there'll be plenty of civilians recording the whole event when he finally acts, so he's not worried about that. He can predict human nature. He's also here to gain a reputation. And he can't have a reputation if there's no witnesses in his crime. Izuku approached the main area where the event is taking place. Grim stayed out of sight as Captain Celebrity was giving some sort of heroic speech. In truth, Izuku was blocking it out entirely. He finds heroic speech to be annoying and predictable. There's one thing he hates about heroes. Is their love to hear themselves speak, to hear their own voices. Grim came out of the cover and started to clap his hands as he walked towards the podium where the hero was giving his heroic speech. That's interesting. That's a very interesting heroic speech. Interesting as his heroic speech is. I believe this party needs something more exciting. Wouldn't you agree, Hira? As Grim jumped onto the podium right across from Captain Celebrity. Really now? And who are you supposed to be? With that look, you're definitely no hero. My apologies. My apologies. I'm being rude. Allow me to properly introduce myself to you all. To these lovely people here, and to you. I'm a villain. I go by Grim. So I decided to crash your little party. I hope you don't mind. I see what's with your whole scary, ominous persona you have going for you. The villain name matches. I swear, villains like you keep popping up. They get so creative nowadays. You have piqued my interest. Grim, was it? Let's see what you got. As Captain Celebrity turned to the audience, worry not, citizens. Your safety is guaranteed. Allow me to show you why I've been a top-ranking hero for as long as I have. Captain Celebrity will vanquish this evildoer right in front of you. I hope you enjoy the spotlight, villain, because it's going to be the last. You're going to prison. And I'm the hero who's going to take you down. You will try, hero. You will try. Grim's playful persona switched to a deadly serious one, as Grim created 2 bone daggers and charged Captain Celebrity with impressive speed. But Captain Celebrity was able to keep up as he dodged the initial strike. And he let the second strike to make contact, only to hit his Tegnetic, not really sure what it is. Captain Celebrity. I know it's not a psychic barrier. Kinetic energy, I think, that covers his body, but I didn't really look into his quirk like in depth. I know what he can do with it, somewhat, but that's not really important. As the kinetic barrier absorbed the attack, Grim, noticing the resistance when he struck him, with his bone dagger, hitting some sort of invisible force. He immediately backed off. Interesting. So you can do more than fly. Let's see what you're really capable of, hero. As several Gaster blasters materialize all around Captain Celebrity, they immediately open fire as several beams of green energy engulfed Captain Celebrity. When the beams receded, Grim could see a uninjured and undamaged Captain Celebrity. But Grim noticed Captain Celebrity was breathing heavy, sweating, as he clearly took a lot to tank that attack. Captain Celebrity has came across powerful villains before. He's always been confident in his abilities, but this one, that attack he just tanked, took a lot out of him. He can't take too many of that sort of attacks. He needs to end this fast. His kinetic barrier doesn't stay on him automatically. He has to activate it. So he's not invincible. He knows that. Captain Celerity decided to use his speed and strength, try to knock out the villain quick and easy, but to his surprise, when he swung his fist at the villain, when he got in striking range of Grim, Grim caught his fist in his hand. Grim simply counterattacked and slammed his bone-covered fist into his face, sending Captain Celebrity go flying into the opposite wall of the large room. By now, the entire incident is being recorded by several people in the crowd watching the hero and villain fight. And naturally, some of them are live streaming it, so it's definitely going to get out. Grim could probably easily end this fast. Captain Celebrity is powerful, but he's predictable. That's why he could easily defeat this pro hero. His ranking matters not. He clearly hasn't been taking his training very seriously. And Grim could easily identify he only trained enough to get him where he is, to his current ranking. He never tried to improve himself further. So he's easy prey for a predator like Izuku. Captain Celebrity couldn't relax as he had to jump out of the way of dozens of bone daggers flying through the sky or the air, directly towards his direction. Grim immediately cut the gap, and a flash step appeared right under his guard, surprising the pro hero as he landed a devastating palm strike in his stomach, sending Captain Celebrity smashing into a Roman statue of Poseidon. Captain Celebrity grunted and pulled the rubble off the remaining of the statue of Poseidon off of him and got to his feet. He charged forward towards the villain, full speed, slightly surprising Grim, as Captain Celebrity managed to land a solid hit across Grim's face, sending him flying backwards. If his bone mask wasn't made with sturdy material, that impact would have definitely destroyed his mask, compromising his identity that he's been trying to avoid as long as possible. He knows there will be a point where keeping his cover as Izuku Midoriya would be pointless at some point, but for now, he wants to keep his cover intact. Grim slid to a stop after skidding across the ground and swiped the blood from his mouth. Now that's more like it, hero. Captain Celerity narrowed his eyes, seeing the pure excitement on the villain's face. It's the part of the mask that he could see. The mask only covers his top of his face, but his bottom mouth is exposed. Only half the skull mask is on his face. There's no bottom half, so Anyways, let's continue. Shao Kahn's skull mask. Without the helmet and like that. It's just a skull mask. You're enjoying this. You're fucking insane. Of course I'm enjoying this, Hera. The thrill of battle. Any moment you could either be the victor or be the vanquish. I only feel alive in the midst of battle. I'm done holding back. Grimm started to move faster, making slight after images of himself as he begins to land combination strikes. As Grimm's assault got a lot more faster and brutal, as Grimm constantly land palm strikes after palm strikes, making after images of his strikes, with each blow he landed. Captain Celebrity managed to throw out a punch. Fortunately for Captain Celebrity, Grimm saw it a mile away and created a bone dagger in his hand and slammed it into his stomach as he twisted the blade and yanked it out. He walked past Captain Celebrity and slammed the back of the the bone knife in the back of his skull. Then he did a spin kick in the back of the head, sending him flying into several nearby statues. Now Grimm did not kill Captain Celebrity. He injured him greatly, but nothing life-threatening if he doesn't get medical help. But the likelihood of him dying from that wound is unlikely, as a large gaster blaster appeared right above the glass casing of the crystal skull. As the skull construct opened his mouth when breaking the glass of the container, as the gaster blaster put the crystal skull in his mouth and floated, as the dragon skull mouth floated towards its master and dropped the crystal skull in his hand. It's been a pleasure, heroes. Unfortunately, I have to take my leave. Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies, but all good things must come to an end. I hope you enjoy our performance. Until next time, and there'll definitely be a next time. As he gave the crowd a mocking bow, as a black or shadow portal appeared right behind him, as Grimm casually stepped backwards, entering the portal. As the shadow portal immediately closed afterwards, Grimm reappeared in his base of operation, throwing and catching the crystal skull in his hand. As he placed the crystal skull on his desk like a very expensive paperweight. Well, that went pretty well. That definitely will get a few humans talking. But why did you leave that human or that hero alive? It might not get people talking. Maybe I just wanted to give them a good show. After all, it's my grand debut. I'm just surprised my bone dagger actually made contact with his skin. Whatever shielding he apparently has. Apparently it's not on him constantly. I must have surprised him. But I don't think I'll be that lucky again. Next time we meet with this Captain Celebrity. And for your mention of him, why I left him alive. Killing him would be too much boring. I want to fight him again. I'll eventually kill him at some point, but for now, I want to enjoy torturing him. Izuku spent a couple of days on the dark web, finding a buyer for the crystal skull. He got an address and a location. Izuku had his Grimm gear on with his skull mask, and made his way towards the location. When he arrived, he found the buyer waiting for him. He was an elderly man, well dressed. He clearly comes for wealth, not bothering using the and clearly not bothered using the dark web to acquire certain items that are technically stolen goods from either museums or some other stolen artifacts. Izuku suspects that the buyer is most likely some sort of collector of priceless artifacts. He doesn't care what the man's goal is, why he wants to buy it. He just wants the money. The man's introduction was brief, as the rich gentleman handed over him 2 briefcases filled with money. Grim checked the briefcases to make sure it was real, no ink pouches inside. Once everything checked out, he handed over the crystal skull to him immediately and made his way through a shuttle portal, leaving the man with his purchased item. As the man left shortly afterwards, it was clean and fast transaction. He placed the briefcase in the safe in his office, the same safe he stores the trigger. It's big enough to hold all those containers and all that. Behind a false wall, behind a bookcase. Not bad work, I say myself. The public knows of me, and I got a good amount of money. Yeah, I'm not afraid to admit, things are going quite nicely for you. But I wonder how long that's going to last, partner. Your luck can't be infinite. Who knows, and who cares? That's what makes everything so exciting. You're as much as twisted as I am. But I agree with you on that, at least. What's your next move? I'm going to allow things to process normally, but I won't stay idle for very long. Only question is, what do I want to do next? I don't want to do a simple bank heist or anything like that. But I do enjoy stealing priceless artifacts. Maybe I'll focus on that for the time being and branch out, doing more serious crimes. After all, Rome wasn't built in a day. As we cut to somewhere into the city, in a deserted dark alleyway, as winds start to pick up, as a magical circle appeared on one of the brick walls of the alleyway, as a figure materialized coming out of the magic circle, wearing a white cloak, concealing their face. Lydia spoke in a cold voice. Finally, we found that evil abomination of a god. He's here. I could feel it. As the once gold small orb in her hands turned pitch black, signifying that she has located her target. She's located the right world. Somewhere on this planet, Zelik is here, no doubt trying to recover his strength by devouring souls. I will cleanse this evil, corrupted god on this world. Several more magical portals appeared, revealing more white cloak figures wielding swords. We can't stay here for long. We're way out in the open. Move out. As all the cloak's figures turn invisible using an invisible spell, as they disappear from the alleyway and run forward. And that's where we're going to stop it. I'll catch you guys in the next part.